Okay, so I'm going to move on out now from the geranium orchard and go on into the one next door, which is the nettle orchard. Wow, biggest bumblebee there. Lovely. Right, so here we are. So this one we called the nettle orchard because when we took it on, it was mainly stinging nettles that were the predominant feature here. We've tried to make it a little bit more diverse now, although stinging nettles are very welcome. So as we found things, we put different plants in there. So here we've got a lovely little climbing rose. This rose is being edible, of course. Flowers, oh, it's difficult, isn't it, with flowers, whether to eat them or not, but certainly roses are very edible and very lovely. Down at the foot here, we've got this yellow dead nettle here, these very distinctive pattern on the leaf, sort of silver. It's an evergreen plant here in the Netherlands. And then come this time, sort of spring, we've got these beautiful tall flower spikes that come on it. Really beautiful, really loved by the insects. And it tastes rather good actually as well, and it grows really, really well here. It's quite possible to pick a bit without it showing. Not picking any flowers at this time of year. And the stinging nettles are sort of everywhere. Stinging nettles are just, well, they've been up for a long time. They've never really gone away actually over the winter, but they're just starting to be really sort of in their prime for picking. So I'll just show you what I've been picking at the moment. So just getting that whip off the top. This is a stinging nettle top, so you don't need much. You just want the top bit. It's less woody. It's very tasty. I'm not going to eat it raw. I know some people do like to tell me that they enjoy rolling up stinging nettles in a certain way, popping them in their mouth, and then they don't get stung. I don't really do that. I put them in cooking, put them in smoothies, whatever. But make sure that the stings are not active. Here, it's a bit in my shade, but this is that beautiful plant there with the whorls of leaves. That's Cleavers, clave cloud, or is it Gallium aparine? Really beautiful plant. It's a great cleanser. Now, as the stinging nettles grow up, that's going to grow up with it. It tends to, well, it needs taller plants, or it needs fences or something like that to enable it to grow up. Really love that plant. The juice of it is so cleansing. It seems so cleansing. It's got a good effect on the lymphatic system. There's some more of it. Really beautiful. So wherever you find nettles, you're fairly likely to find cleavers at the moment, which is a bonus. Let's have a little mooch through here. The guys who are the regular gardeners here, because I'm a bit of an erratic one these days, working in the school all the time, they've decided to build a herb spiral here in this part. We did have a straight path before. They're going to move in some way of doing that, which is quite exciting. So these nettles here in the middle will be removed as they build up the herb spiral. So if you are someone who lives around here and you like your stinging nettles, this is the patch to pick them from. The patch in the middle where the herb spiral is coming. Ah, now here's Comfrey. Here's the big one. So Comfrey or smearvortel, it's all related. So the little small Comfrey that we saw with the white flowers, we saw alkanet. What else did we see? The lungwort. They're all related to this. This is the medicinal one. It's quite a big example of it here. We've got a few of them. Here's one in the path as well. Really beautiful. It's going to have enormous leaves. And I'm really trying at home to grow a lot of vegetables this year on my roof terrace. And as I'm setting it up at the moment, I've got some perennial vegetables in there. Some things which just pop up every year, which is great. I've got some kale from last year and so on. Anyway, there's all sorts going on. But I'll top it up a little bit with fresh soil. But I will, when the plants get going, like my tomatoes and so on, they will need some food. and I'd really rather not buy that. And Comfrey is a nice way to make your own fertilizer. So actually today, now this is looking quite good, I'm going to just pick a leaf, just again dive deep down into it, get a long stem so nobody can see that you've been at it. It just makes the thing look a whole lot better. And put that in my bag, and then every time I'm around and I find some comfrey, I'm just going to take a little leaf and then I'll put it in a bucket on my roof with a bit of water and put a few stinging nettles in there and a few other plants that I want to add to the mix, and then I'll let them ferment and rot down, and then in time I'll have a beautiful stinky tea that I can feed to my plants. Let's have a look here. Oh, there's the sweet Sicily. I won't show that one today. Right, purple dead nettle. Look at that beautiful plant. There's little hoverflies by it as well. So this is another dead nettle, just like yellow dead nettle, but this is the purple one. Again, edible, pretty easy to identify. Beautiful flower spikes at the moment. This one seems to have been in flower for a long time as well. It doesn't grow as prolifically as the yellow dead nettle, so it's quite a privilege to see a big clump of it like this. I wonder if any of you recognise what this little shrub is that we've got here as well. I really like this. I'm really hoping that it takes off, and I wish I'd realised about these plants more when I was living in the UK. This is goji berry, a goji berry shrub. No goji berries on this one yet, and I think if any come, the birds will get to it before we do. Duke of Argyll's tea plant. But anyway, we're giving it a go and hoping we can make a bit of a bush of it here and it will give some berries. Some more of the smaller comfrey. Little patch of wild garlic. And some more stinging nettle. Let's just have another top from that. Now you can see on this one we've got, and I'm not being really sort of foolhardy and just fancy getting stung, but I did such a lot of gardening the other day I can't really feel it, to be quite honest. Here you can see my finger through there. Someone's been having a nibble on this, and you always need to remember when you're foraging that, all right, you might be really keen on nettle soup, but so are the caterpillars, or their version of nettle soup anyway. We're not really in competition because we've got the upper hand, haven't we? If we can get to the plants, it's very easy for us to demolish them. But loads of insects and mammals and birds, all sorts of things, they rely on these plants in one way or another. So it is very, very, it is just a pity if we take too much of it. We just need to be aware of what we see. Oh, loads of bees in the small comfrey there. Let's see. Just beautiful. The whole place is buzzing. I can hear quite a few cars and trucks on the main road outside the park, but there. So this one's going to go into my brew for the roof plants. A very beautiful quince tree here. Look at the framework of that tree, isn't it lovely? And this is going to be in flower fairly soon. I'm looking forward to seeing that. At the foot of the quince, we've got again some more yellow dead nettle, if you can just see the flowers there. But here, look at this. Isn't it lovely? Again, it's in the mint family, so you could say it's a dead nettle family as well, another way of calling it. This is ground ivy. And it's not looking much like ivy at the moment, but it creeps along the ground like English ivy. What beautiful flowers. Lovely, lovely edible plant. Makes a really nice tea. It's got a definite minty flavour to it, this one. And the bees, there's a honeybee, I think. Really lovely. Beautiful, beautiful plant. There's another comfrey. Behind it, some fennel. I'm trying to think of the name of that fennel. It's a bronze fennel that we put in. It's another Artemisia here. And look at that, a lovely little spray of Cleavers all around. Now, not much to help them climb up here, so we'll see how these get on. We might end up with a bit of a thicket of Cleavers. Flowers of this one just going over. This is not an edible plant. I put this in just because it always reminds me of my birthday. And my daughter's got the same birthday as me, so I think it's quite nice. I like a birthday plant around the place. Here we've got, what's this, garlic mustard. Looking good, actually. This is in a really nice place for it here as well, just off the path, nicely protected. And this one has got its earlier leaves and it's going to grow, it's really, really high, yeah? So it might be as tall as me, this plant, and the leaves might be as big as my palm or much bigger. But this, I'm going to just leave it, although I know these leaves, it's in the cabbage family, it tastes a bit of cabbage, bit of mustard, really nice, easy to eat. I know I could take a bit now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it to grow on and to grow quite big. And then when it's big, I'll feel happier to take it. Look at that pretty pear tree in blossom. The back of House of Frankendael. Okay, so let's take a wander into one of the other orchards.